This is your only warning. Soon this city will know what fear is. And what real fear is. I'm going to rob them of hope.
And hope is the spread wings of a bat.
Fear makes you mine. It's okay to be afraid. I will make them suffer.
Until the only thing they know to be true is me, their king of fear.
Hey, what's up guys? Toby from the Master Box Show, and I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Active, healer, and controller. Crazy amount of buffs to your allies. That is the theme for today's build. An active dedicated healer that provides maximum amount of healing while giving crazy amount of advantages for your allies while spreading this debuffs like no other spellcasters in the game, dishing out DPS without burning through your spell slots, and be the most reliable member of your party. Perfect for your honor mode play, and be the ultimate companion for your dark urge. I present to you the Witch Doctor, and without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, here we are now guys in the character creation screen. This is where we will be building the foundation of our Witch Doctor. It is the first time for me to introduce a build that is race specific. The reason is that we need the specific proficiency in order for us to equip a certain weapon to make our build as powerful as possible. The two races that I'm talking about is the Elf and the Githyanki race. For this reason is that the race feature of the Githyanki provides us with the base racial speed as well as the martial prodigy. We gain proficiency in armor such as light and medium, as well as proficiency in short sword, long sword, and great sword. We are looking for any proficiency pertaining to the long sword that will also be provided by the elf race, which has this race feature of base racial speed, elven weapon training such as proficiency in long sword, short bow and long bow, dark vision, as well as fey ancestry, which gives us proficiency in saving throws against charmed and sleep. For this build, I'll be going with the elf race, particularly the sub-race of the wood half elf, because we get the fleet of foot that will increase our move speed by 1.5. As for the classes, we'll be taking the warlock class as early as possible to provide that utility as well as helping out in dealing damage, especially in the early game with the help of our Eldritch Blast, which is one of the best offensive cantrips in the game. As for the subclass, we'll be taking the Archfey. Because of the action Fey presence, we can either charm or frighten foes in an AoE with our disturbing magic for 2 turns. As for the cantrips, we'll be taking automatically Eldritch Blast, and the other one is maybe Minor Illusion or Friendship if you want to be the face of the party. For the spells, we'll be taking the Armor of Agathis to provide us with temporary hit points, as well as a +5 whole damage every time they hit us until long rest. For the backgrounds, there are 2 backgrounds that are interesting for the build, starting with the Noble and the Soldier. The Soldier provides us with skills in athletics and intimidation. Most likely you will be benefiting from intimidation due to your high charisma. As for the Noble, you get the history and persuasion. Persuasion will be the one that will benefit you the most. For the abilities, it will most likely look like this. We will be prioritizing charisma, constitution, dexterity, and a little bit of wisdom. Charisma will be the one that will influence our outside of combat dialogue, as well as our damage that are scaling with our charisma, especially for our warlock class. Number 2 is the constitution. We need as much constitution as we can in order for us to not break our concentration, especially if we have a specific spell that we will be unlocking later on the build. Finally, dexterity, just for the initiative as well as additional AC. Right after character creation, we'll be moving into level 2 of our character and level 2 of our warlock. We just unlock few Eldritch Invocation, and the most important things that we need here is the Agonizing Blast. This will grant modifiers to our Eldritch Blast with our charisma. As for the second one, you can take either Beguiling Influence or Repelling Blast depending on what the Witch Doctor is to your party. As for the spells, you can take Charm Person for this level 3 of our character. This is the level that we will be introducing as early as possible, our second multi-class of the build in the form of the Cleric. This is the time that we will be focusing on our healing capabilities and becoming the support dedicated healer of our team. As for the subclass, we will be taking the life domain. We have a few life domain spell and heals and the really cool subclass feature which is Disciple of Life. Our devotion empowers our healing spell. When we cast the healing spell, the target regains an additional hit points equals to 2 plus the spell level. For the cantrips, you can take any cantrips that you prefer. I just go with resistance, guidance, and maybe light. Level 4 of our character and level 2 of our cleric. We will just be focusing on this cleric class as much as possible so that we unlock a specific spell later on the levels to make our healing powers or capabilities as effective as possible. As for this level, we unlock Turn Undead and this really useful Preserve Life class action that invokes healing energy to restore every ally in your AoE with just the cost of your channel divinity. Level 5 of our character, still sticking with our cleric class, we unlock a few really interesting healing spells and support spells such as the Aid, that is a really nice abjuration spell that heals our allies and increases the hit points by 5 until long rest. The other one is Prayer of Healing that you can use outside of combat, and another one is a really useful spiritual weapon that can provide damage as well as meat shielding for your party. Level 6 of our character, which is level 4 of our cleric, we now unlock our first feat of the build, and we will be focusing it on our ability improvement and dumping it all on our charisma just to increase the damage of our Eldritch Blast capabilities. As for the cantrips, I'll just go Blade Ward for this level. Level 7 is a really important level for us in our cleric class, which is level 5, as we unlock the most important spell that we need for the build, which is the Beacon of Hope. This is a level 3 abjuration spell. When we heal our allies, they get the maximum hit points as possible, as well as they gain advantages in their wisdom saving throws and death saving throws for 10 turns. Beacon of Hope will eliminate the RNG aspect of the healing spell and provide the maximum amount of healing possible for our allies for as long as they are in that AoE. Mass healing spell is also a really good spell to have. It heals everybody in your vicinity and it goes well with one of the rings that we'll be introducing later on the build. Now for level 8 of our character, we will now be introducing our final subclass in the game in the form of the Bard. The Bard is the most flexible class in the game. Also for this level, we unlock this really good Bard Inspiration. This will inspire our ally and add a plus 1d6 bonus to our next attack roll, ability check, and next saving throw until long rest with the cost of our Bardic Inspiration charges. For the spells, we already have the Healing Word and we will be replacing this with a utility spell. That's gonna be Featherfall or maybe Longstrider. In my case, I'll be taking Featherfall. For the cantrips, we'll be taking Vicious Mockery as it is unique to the Bard class, and maybe the Friendship spell or depending on your preference, Minor Illusion if you haven't got it already. Level 9 of our character and focusing on our Bard class, we now unlock our really nice class action of the Bard, which is the Song of Rest that will provide another short rest to our arsenal that will be totaling up to 3 now. As for the spells, we'll be taking any spells that you need. I'll just go with Longstrider for additional utility. Level 10, and still sticking with our Bard class, we now unlock our final subclass that we need for the build in the form of the College of Lore. We also unlock the subclass feature Cutting Word, which basically provides disadvantage to the attack rolls of our enemies with the cost of our reaction charges. As for the spells, you can take any utility spells that you need. I'll just go with Knock as it is a really nice transmutation spell that opens slot with just the cost of your level 2 spell slot. But depending on the use, you can take the version of the Hold Person here that uses Charisma instead of Wisdom. Level 11 is where we will be unlocking our final feat of the build, and we are taking the Dual Wielder feat. Dual Wielder provides us with the ability to use 2 weapons even if they aren't light, and we gain +1 bonus to our AC while wielding a melee weapon in each hand. As for the spells, just take any spells that are missing for your party. I'll just take maybe Visibility or Enthrall for this level. Finally, level 12 and level 5 of our Bard, we now unlock our final class feature, which is Font of Inspiration. We regain our Bardic Inspiration after a long and short rest, and the improved Bardic Inspiration that will increase our Bardic Inspiration by 1d8, which is amazing. For the spells, you can get maybe Plant Growth for this level to provide restriction to the move speed of the enemies in an AoE for 10 turns, or maybe a Hypnotic Pattern if you need it. I'll just go with Plant Growth just to provide the additional utility for my allies. Alright, now we're gonna be talking about the item setup that you will be needing to make the Witch Doctor as powerful as possible, and I'll be presenting to you two builds for today. One is for the early game and one is for the late game. As for the early game, that will be including the Act 1 and Act 2 builds. As for the late game is for the Act 3. What's amazing about this build is that it goes online really early, and the item it needs to make it really powerful are found in Act 1 and Act 2. So most likely in Act 3, you just need a few tweaks to make the build as powerful as possible. That being said, we're gonna be starting with our headpiece, which is the Wapira's Crown. This will provide us with the passive Crowning Glory. When healing another, the wearer gains 1 to 6 hit points. As for the cloak, we need the Derivation Cloak that has the passive Deadly Derivation. When you poison a foe, you heal yourself for 1d4 hit points. As for the armor, we just need to slap in any sort of heavy armor that can provide as much AC as possible. In my case, I'll be taking the Adamantine Splint Armor because of its high AC, as well as a few really good passives such as the Magical Plate. All incoming damage is reduced by 2, as well as the Intense Adamantine Backlash. When melee attacks hit you, it sends the enemy reeling for 3 turns, not to mention the attackers can't land any critical hits on us. As for the gloves, we'll be taking these gloves into the Act 3 build, which is the Poisoner gloves. This will provide us with the passive Envenom. When you deal poison damage, the target needs to succeed the Constitution saving throw or become poisoned. For the boots is the Evasive Shoes for the additional acrobatics as well as the additional AC. Amulet is the Periapa Wound Closure that has the passive Wound Closure. When down, we automatically stabilize in the start of a turn. And the most important thing that we need in the amulet is the Potent Healing. We maximize the number of hit points that are restored to us whenever we are healed. For the rings, we will be taking the Whispering Promise. This will provide us with the passive Blessed Mercy. When you heal a creature, it gains an additional plus 1d4 bonus to our attack rolls, as well as our saving throws for 2 turns. Basically, it gives us a free Bless spell on our first heal without the concentration requirement of the Bless. And finally, for the rings is the Coruscation Ring that will provide us Arcane Radiance. When the wearer deals spell damage while illuminated by a light source, we also deal additional Radiating Orb stacks for 2 turns. As for the weapons, we'll be taking the Failure Lube. That is very important for this build, and that's why you need proficiency in Longsword in order for us to effectively use this Longsword of a weapon. The Failure Lube is a really nice sword that you can get really early in Act 1 that has this Failure Alluve class action, Failure Alluve Melody, that provides us with Failure Alluve Sing and Failure Alluve Shriek. I'm particular with the Failure Alluve Sing. It provides us with an AoE of 6 meters that basically grants us an additional bless of 1d4 bonus to our attack rolls, charisma, wisdom saving throws, and intelligence for 5 turns every short rest. Finally, for the shield, you can slap in any shield that you have in your inventory just to add additional AC to our Witch Doctor. Now we're gonna be talking about the Act 3 build to make our Witch Doctor as powerful as possible. As I mentioned earlier, we just need a few tweaks in order for us to make the Witch Doctor as effective as it can be with just a few items. Starting with our headpiece, we'll be taking the Hood of the Weave. This will provide us with the Arcane Enchantment. We gain a +2 bonus to our spell save DC, as well as our spell attack rolls. For the armor, we just need an armor that has the highest AC that we can get, and in my case, I'll just take the Helldust armor. This will provide us with our Infernal Retribution. Whenever we succeed a saving throw, the caster receives a burning status for 3 turns, as well as the Primal Aegis of Fire. We have resistance to fire damage and cannot be burned, and we take 3 less damage from all sources, as well as our free fly if ever you want to reposition to any location that you prefer. As for the boots, you can actually stick with the Evasive Shoes if you want, but you can also replace with the Helldust boots if you want to remove or disregard any difficulty terrain. As for the amulets, we'll be taking the Amulet of the Devout. This will provide us with the passive high spellcasting. We gain an additional +2 bonus to our spell save DC, and the most important thing that we need about the amulet is the God's Will. We gain an additional charge of our Channel Divinity every long rest. And finally, for the weapons, we'll be dual wielding the Marco Heshkir. This provides us with the arcane enchantment, will gain us a +1 bonus to our spell save DC, as well as our spell attack rolls. Arcane Battery that provides basically a free spell slot, and the most important thing here is the Kreshka's Favor that will provide us with an attunement to any element that we need. In my case, we'll be attuning to the Deadlier Than Arsenic. We're going to be starting a battle with our Witch Doctor and showcase how powerful this build can be. As I mentioned earlier, this build is the one that's gonna be control and also our dedicated healer of our party. Before starting a battle or after a long rest, we just need to use first our aid spell to increase the amount of HP our allies have and upcast it into aid level 5 to provide 20 HP of all our allies in the vicinity until long rest. Right after that is we will be activating Kreshka's Favor, and we'll be selecting Deadlier Than Arsenic to provide our attunement with poison as well as resistances to poison damage, not to mention the additional spells that we'll be taking for free. Now we are now attuned to poison. Now we are basically ready to battle with our Witch Doctor. Now for turn 1 or whenever we can, we just need to activate our Beacon of Hope to remove the RNG aspect of our healing spells and to provide the maximum healing that we can have. And we'll be finishing up with Sanctuary so the enemies don't accidentally hit us. We're gonna be starting a battle with our Witch Doctor, and this is gonna be a really nice pair with our Dark Lord if you want to go the route of evil. We just proc our Cutting Action Word. This will provide disadvantage of 1d8 penalty to attack rolls and ability checks with just the cost of our Bardic's Inspiration if you want, but in my case, I'll just let it slide. Now we'll just use our damage dealer to deal some damage to our opponents in this turn. Now it's time for us to use our Witch Doctor for this turn. We'll be starting to buff our allies as much as possible. We're going to be starting with our Melody, that's going to be our Failure Aloob Sing, and provide additional advantage to attack rolls for our allies for 5 turns. Now we have this really nice AoE here, and our ally just got the buff. Right after that is we will be healing our allies to provide the Bless spell for 2 turns. Now we just have the Bless as well as the Singing Sword buff. The Bless spell is included. We can just stand directly in the battlefield in order for us to have the buff active at all times. Now we're gonna be using our Dark Lord for this turn. It will just deal some damage to our enemies. I need to shield. That doesn't matter. We're still dead. Now it's time for us to use our Witch Doctor again, and we will be providing Bardic Inspiration added to the buffs that we already have for our allies. As you see here, we now have 3 buffs for allies, and we'll be repositioning this to provide now debuffs to our enemies using our Eldritch Blasts. Using Eldritch Blast here, up to here. Maybe we can reach the target at the back. No, we just leave it there. Now enemies now have the debuffs Poison. This will provide disadvantages to attack rolls and ability checks, as well as a minus to their attack rolls with the Radiating Orb charges. And we can end our turn here. Now we will be showcasing the power of healing. I'll just showcase the power of the Preserve Life, and this will proc additional bless charges to both of us with the power of the Whispering Promise Ring. So we're just going to be using this. So as you see, we just got blessed. We can end our turn by just playing this. Just the sake of just, providing ambience to the battle. I will just finish up this archer here. She's dead. Moving on the target here. Just to finish up this right there. We got a miss. Okay. Dead. Moving on the target. And ending our turn. Now we'll just showcase the power of the Eldritch Blast to provide as much debuffs as we can. But unfortunately, we are blinded. We will be using the Lesser Restoration to remove that blindness status. Finally, just gonna be attacking for Dark Lord and maybe let the Witch Doctor finish the fight and focus our spell with our Eldritch Blast to debuff and provide radiating orb charges to our enemies. Now we just got poison there as well as some radiating orb debuffs, ending our turn. Now finishing the battle. They're all dead. Alright guys, thank you for watching the build. I hope you see how powerful the Witch Doctor can be. He can provide an amazing array of buffs and debuffs to your opponents and AoE utility that it can offer to your team. Goes really well with a powerful frontliner or a powerful striker for that additional DPS and advantages. Yeah, would love to know about your thoughts about the build as well as your questions and clarifications in a comment down below. Don't forget to hit that like button if you guys like the build. It really lets me know that you guys are enjoying the videos. Shoutouts for all the people who subscribe and keep supporting the channel. I really appreciate you guys for all of the amazing support, and for all the people who haven't subscribed yet, I hope I earn your subscriptions in the future, but if I earn it today, please don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out a lot. If you want to support me directly, please consider joining our D20 Rulers Club by hitting the join button. Join our Discord with the guys. I mainly post my build concepts and the build videos there. And if you have any questions for me directly, you can reach me in Discord as well. And before I forget, I also have Patreon if you want to support me that way. And finally, that's it for me. I hope to see you soon on the next Master Box Show. Peace out. Bye guys.